And now Yannick is now totally set up, I believe, so you're totally prepared. We'll see, we'll see. Well, stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Irvin Yalom once wrote that we think in images, and then we translate that into thoughts, and then we translate that into language, and then the person who picks up the language has to do the reverse again. So I figured, given that I have 10 minutes, rather than giving you a lot of language that you have to then translate, I do something unusual for me, which is use half of this time for video. Full of images and full of stories, and stories are the other bit that we learn best through. So I found this video that I crudely chopped up, so I really apologize to the editor of this video, to give you some of the context of what I want to talk about. So I'm gonna paint an image, and then I'm gonna put a frame around that. So if that works, I'd be a happy bunny. Huh? No?
We are wondering what is happening to the world. Everything is changing.
The very idea of human being some sort of natural concept is really going to change.
Our bodies will be so high-tech we won't be able to really distinguish between what's natural and what's artificial.
Inside our own heads is the most complex arrangement of matter in the known universe.
You might ask yourself, can we get to be superhumans?
The original Industrial Revolution was driven by the discovery that you could use steam engines to do all kinds of interesting things.
But that was followed by additional revolutions for electricity and computers and communications technology. We're now in the early stages of the fourth Industrial Revolution, which is bringing together digital, physical, and biological systems.
One of the features of this fourth Industrial Revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
There's now a scientific foundation for the effects of mindfulness on the brain, on the genome, on biological aging. And when the human mind does know itself, then you get the potential for a new renaissance that restructures itself in terms of our relationship to life, our relationship to the planet, our relationship to work.
We need to shift to a new system that will allow us to meet the basic needs of every human on the planet, that will live within planetary means, that will be fairer, and that will be focused as its key goal, not on growth per se, but on maximizing human well-being. And history tells us that a value shift is triggered by creation of a new story about how we want to live.
Walking around, you do see different stuff, as far as like the body marriage line. They use a lot of things that help them lift up and move things to the car. You just sit there and, program something, and it has its own set mind to go ahead and do everything. And then as humans, we just come in and take the extra step to help the technology.
It's not the cure-all for everything. There's definitely a lot of things where people perform the operation better, but certainly for the right applications, robotics are a huge improvement for the process.
The projection of 5 million jobs lost by 2020 to technology is serious, but it's not the main question. Construction, manufacturing, services, public health and education, these industries will still exist. The main question is, what will be the future of work? How will we define work? How will we share the wealth?
I just given a prize to a kid, 18 years old, that has discovered something really very, very unique. Came up with how to get better productivity and better yields for seeds of corn. And so he basically came with the idea that if you would perforate these seeds, you would get more food. And you think about it and say, but he didn't go to university. So how does it get all that knowledge? And he told me, I mean, I've been watching YouTube since the age of 12, and I'm so interested that I've seen everything about it. I've read everything about it. The world is really open to learning. The thing is, how do you give the incentive to your kids to do that?
I was the first person in the world to be able to voluntarily move my legs while stepping in a robot by exciting the nervous system using electrical stimulators directly onto the spine. We believe that a cure will be possible if enough of the right people have the will to fast-track a cure for paralysis.
We need to take responsibility at every level of society, from the individual and the personal to the institutional to the global, to adapt to these technological challenges and changes, which are redefining what it means to be human, what it means to work, what it means to be completely embedded in this world.
Right, so this is Creative Commons, so you can freely remix it, which I've done, to pick out the points that really paint the context, because this stuff is happening. And advances in biotech and nanotech, they are developing faster than exponential. Which means if you take, our brains can't really conceptualize, it's really difficult for us. If we take 30 linear steps, we're 30 steps away. If we take 30 exponential steps, we're 18 times around the world. And these things happening faster than that. So we're already replacing parts of our bodies with technologies, and that's gonna go completely beyond what we can imagine right now. It's not that we're going to become robots, but we're going to replace a considerable amount of our bodies with technology. Now the problem is that the people who are actively involved in the fourth industrial revolution, they're going to be very few in the beginning, because that's the people who are at the forefront of science, the people who can afford to be a part of this. There's going to be a massive amount of people who will be in a very difficult situation from this, because as AI takes over a lot of the jobs, as we've seen in the factory there, a lot of people will become jobless. We're already creating BS jobs, you heard about the concept, that we just keep people busy so that they keep sane. You mentioned addictions, the ones that might actually be useful, because some of this stuff allows us to just exist. So the problem with that is some form of universal basic income is probably going to be inevitable as far as I see it. So that means we have a lot of people with a lot of time on their hands having to tune into what intrinsically motivates them and how can they make sense of their existence. Because, and sorry for the font there, when I did my workshop yesterday, I asked people to define some of their identity, I am. And we identify ourselves through our job titles, through the work that we do. One of the main sources of meaning is the job, the work that we are doing as human beings. So if we take that away, then we need to redefine what it means to be and who we are and why we're here for. So I see there's a massive crisis coming in meaning for a large amount of the population who have to think about and being given a space where they can think about who am I, what am I doing, what am I passionate about, what's important to me, how can I make an impact on the world if that's part of my value system. We need to give them a space where they can explore themselves. Because boredom, substance abuse, divorce, identity meaning, some entrepreneurs I know, it would literally be like the loss of a loved one if they lose their job or their company or the thing that they've built to an AI. So this is a list of the main reasons for suicide. So this is a very existential threat. And suicide is, to date, depending on which statistic you consult, the second biggest killer of people after accidents. So this is major and it's important. So I think what we need is to create these spaces. And usually I bang on about positive existential coaching, but I think that goes well beyond that. Therapy, coaching, spaces in education, helping people like this 12-year-old learn and realize how we learn. We have access to so much knowledge and technology that's free to everybody. How can we shape that? How can we help people get in touch with who they are and tap into those resources that we have so that we can redefine what it means to be human in the world full of technology? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A very important message, what our identity is in this era of changing technology, and even like when our own technology is failing, of putting the PowerPoints up, but in the end we get there. So possibly there is like a hidden message there, that yes, we can get that identity after some technological crisis, possibly. Yeah. So.